face to face. We both permission. We don't grow alone. Every conversation matters. Every seed we've sown. This is elevate your growth. Where the vision gets louder, but we rise together, and the moon makes you stronger. Pull up the seed you belong.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Thriving Thursdays with Alexandria Nicole. I am your host, Alexandria Nicole, and this is where leaders, innovators, and change makers come together to gain clarity, elevate strategy, and take bold action so we can thrive together. We are brought to you by our community of business owners, professionals, founders, and creatives. Elevate your growth. And today, our guest, Simona Costantini, yes, owner and founder of Volt Productions, is here with us to talk about all things podcasting, happiness, and love. How are you doing?
I am so good. Thank you for having me. And fun fact, did you know that we have the same middle name?
Really? Your middle name's
Mhm.
Nicole?
Yep.
Yay! I love that. I
Well,
did
that's
not
me
know that.
assuming that yours is a middle name, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nicole's my middle name. Oh, I love that.
funny.
I love you even more.
I know it's meant to be. Thank you for attending the show today. No, just kidding. Have a nice
Oh
day,
my
everyone.
goodness. I love you so much. So, my first question, let's get right into it. So, where did you grow up? And do you still consider that place home?
Ooh, really good question. I actually live in Canada. And so
Oh.
I grew up in a city called Mississauga, which is just outside of Toronto. So I tell people that live in Toronto, just because it's easier for them to pinpoint. I live about an hour away from there now, closer to like Niagara wine country region, which is really nice.
Nice.
And do I still consider Mississauga home? I mean, not really. I consider it home because my family is still there,
Yeah.
which is great. But I travel around so much, and like my boyfriend and I, we are between Canada and the US all the time. And so I don't know, home is where the heart is, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went on a family trip to Niagara Falls and everything was frozen and it was so gorgeous, Simona. And I'll never forget it because our youngest daughter at the time, she was in a stroller and a squirrel just hopped up on her lap and I immediately freaked out. Like I just catastrophized. I was like, he's gonna bite her in the face. She's gonna get rid of me. He was just wanting some of her treats.
He just wanted to live his best little
Wanted
life.
a little golden action. Yeah. But it was to this day, one of our best trips. Do you go through there or do you typically like fly in?
To like where I live right now.
States. Yeah, where you come
Oh,
into the States.
we drive. Yeah, we drive. It's so close. It's like 2 hours door to door,
Oh,
which is
wow.
amazing. Yeah. And I'm
Nice.
about like 20-ish minutes, 20, 30 minutes from actual Niagara Falls, which is really nice.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so we just can go down there whenever. And it's always I love going down there. I always think it's so much
Yeah.
fun. So, yeah.
I have to go when it's warm and everything's not frozen.
I was just thinking, I'm like, you went when it was frozen. I'm like, it's so beautiful. I was like, you should see,
Gorgeous.
like in the summertime, it's so nice in the summertime.
Oh my gosh, we got to go back. But yeah, we were freezing, but it's still like one of the favorite things that we've done. So growing up, okay, you're growing up in Canada. What were your family dynamics like? And how did that help shape the version that you are today?
So family dynamics, I have a brother and a sister. I'm the oldest one.
Oh,
And yeah, my sister and I are 16 months apart. And my brother and I are
wow.
6 years apart. And my parents were, I think they were married till I was like 11 or 12.
Mhm.
And then they separated after that. So they've been separated actually now at this point longer than they were ever even together.
Right.
And, I think it impacted the way that I grew up in that, I was raised to, I don't know where it kind of came from, but I just always kind of beat my own drum. Like, does that make sense? Like, I always
Yeah.
just followed my own beat. Like, I always just kind of did what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And so I don't know if that comes from, kind of needing to, and like this part of the story, like I won't go into too much because I really respect the privacy here, but my brother was sick as a kid when he was younger. And so that creates an additional dynamic as well.
Yeah.
And, you kind of learn to do things on your own, if that makes any sense. And so,
Mm,
I don't know, I just kind of, I learned to trust myself. I learned to make decisions for myself. I learned how to be okay with being, by myself, and over the years, and so on. And yeah. And so when I went to college, my first year of college, I was 17. I have a later later in the year birthday. And I was 17 when I first went, and I left my family home for the first time. And
mhm.
it was immediately at once I left, I was like, "Oh my God, I want to go back." But it was also, I was so grateful to have that experience because
Yeah.
it showed me what you can actually do. And so anyways, I don't know. I
Yes.
really learned from a young age to just you can do what you want to do in whatever capacity that looks like. And also it didn't stop me from making maybe choices I shouldn't have made, or things that, you look back and you're like, oh, whatever. I don't really have regrets when I look back. I don't really regret things when I look back, but
Yeah.
I'm I see where I'm like, oh, if I had more awareness around this particular thing, then maybe the outcome
Right.
of X, Y, and Z would have been different. But can't we all say that though?
Yeah, I mean, my
Right?
God, I have some very
Yeah.
questionable choices from my,
Oh, 100.
early adulthood and even into my 20s. So I love that one of the things that you took away is you became resilient. You started to
Yeah.
carve your own path, and like you said, you were marching to the beat of your own drum, and you really were not you never put yourself in a box. That's better than me. That's incredible. I stuffed myself in a box, and I say that I'm
Mhm.
like this recovering people pleaser, because that was very much so like my journey. And I
Mhm.
still have to, assess myself in leadership now, making sure that I'm not saying yes to things because I'm concerned about what the outcome is. So
Yeah.
it's so funny how our lives and our upbringing start to they start to form how we assess things and how we show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I know exactly what you mean. And also too, I have to say, I have now I don't feel this. Well, I was about to say, I don't really feel this way anymore, but no, I definitely still am a people pleaser in a lot of different ways. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Because you
yeah,
have to, when you're growing up, you conform and you want to make people happy and you want to, do the right thing, and whatever the thing is, right? And
yeah.
so I always tried to make sure that everyone was happy and that everyone was good, and that, people weren't mad at me. That was one thing, was always oh my God, I don't want people to be mad at me, you know?
Mm,
Um,
mhm.
and different friend dynamics and stuff like that. And so when I was a teenager, I knew that I knew at that time that I was my own person, but I also was still very easily influenced by the things around, because that's kind of how, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of how it is when you
I
grow up.
feel like that's how all of us were. And if you
Yeah.
didn't necessarily, I had to figure out a lot of things on my
Yeah.
own, right? And unfortunately, I learned a lot of things at the beginning. I feel like the hard way, where
Mm.
now the fact that
Yeah.
I learned things the hard way, I'm much more a researcher. I want to learn either from doing and making the mistake and kind of documenting the mistake and moving forward so that I don't kind of repeat the same cycle, or researching. So I'm the founder of Elevate Your Growth, but I'm also our researcher on how to
Wow.
approach the market and all these various things, right? So I'm learning ways that I can expedite the process, because I went through so many years of learning the hard way, and I'm I'm good on that.
I resonate with that so much.
So when you were growing up, did you always envision yourself as a business owner, or did that happen along the way?
So I remember when I was 16 or 17, I had said to my dad that I wanted to be a life coach. And I remember he said to me, he's like, life coach. He's like, what kind of life have you lived for life coach? He's like, you know what I mean? Because when you're 16 years old, think about it. How much
Yeah,
really, how much life experience do you have? And
yeah,
I was like, okay, I get what you're saying. Makes sense. And I was like, so I worked in corporate for a number of years before I started working, in creating my business and all of the things. And anytime I went to my corporate job, I'm grateful for all of the experience. I'm grateful for the jobs and for, the different things that I did. But
yeah,
I knew that it wasn't really for me,
yeah.
so I never really, never really envisioned myself. I guess maybe in some ways I did as an entrepreneur, but I just didn't know of what. Like, I'm not like an inventor. I'm not like creator of, product and like that kind of stuff. And so I was always like, okay, well, what would I do if I was a business owner? And anyways, the life coaching idea came, and I actually did do it. I did do it in my like later 20s. That's how I started in this, yeah. That's how I started in this world, if you will. And then that shifted into podcast production. But even when I was in corporate, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I just feel like there's got to be so much more to life than this. And like, that was my repeating theme for pretty much all of my 20s. I was like, there's got to be more to life than this.
Same. Like, I was just like, I never understood how people could be so deeply unsatisfied with their life and like their position and not do anything about it. So my life going into entrepreneurship, I feel like I always had the bug, but I didn't necessarily, I'm so excited. I didn't necessarily know how to articulate it. It was just like a process of elimination where it's like, I know I don't want this. I don't want this corporate structure. I don't want to necessarily go in and be under someone else's reign of like their hours and this and that. And I just was like, this isn't it. So like, what else?
What else we got? What else is an option? It is so true. And I remember so I had this sticky note and I kept it in actually this is kind of like, I mean, maybe I'm going to share this anyway. Someone will listen and you'll hear my secrets. But when I was working in corporate, there was one corporate job in particular. I started a podcast in 2018, which end of 2018, beginning of 2019, which is kind of how I got into this space. But with that show, I decided to put a profile on Fiverr to edit people's podcasts for them. And and I would literally do the editing work at my job. Like, so they
Simona.
That's
a hustle, girl.
So they moved. But here's what happened. So they moved. Okay. So when I was in that job, I used to sit on the side, with everybody else. Okay. Where all the whole rest of like my team was and everything. And then they moved just my cubicle to the other side of the office where there was like nobody there. And so I was in this like, dungeon feeling like, area. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, you guys don't care enough about me. So I'm just going to do my own thing then. And so I would edit for my clients while I was, while I was at work. I would literally put like my laptop on top of my other laptop and like,
Oh my God.
Listen,
so
when you have the drive and the hustle, you got to make it happen somehow.
You were like double dipping for sure.
100%. 100%. Don't come for me if you're listening.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. So but good. I had this sticky note on my like desk or whatever, and it said August 2020. And like, of course, nobody knew what that meant except for me. And in my mind, that was August 2020. I will be done working in corporate. I don't know how. I don't know by which way, but I will be done. And lo and behold, like the world shut down in 2020 and I got furloughed and I was literally done my job at the end of July of 2020. So so careful what you wish for and how, but it was a great redirect.
Wow. That is incredible.
Talk about being like powerful, like manifestors of like the creation of your life and how you want, there's the plan, there's like the plan. And then there's the specific things that we do to also contribute to how that happens. So yeah.
That's one of the things I do every morning when I get up and I come to my office. I've started to implement this in my schedule is like, I have my time to journal, I read the Bible, I pray, I exercise. I got my treadmill over there off to the side. I started Tai Chi, which I love. Ooh. It's so good for like slowing down and just being present with my body. And that's really important because my mind is moving so much and there's so many phone calls and things to do and teaching my girls like just rapid fire all the time. So just like slowing down and be present. But now I've just started to implement too is like meditation and manifestation time where I really think like I literally just researched it this morning. How do you actually manifest? Do you think about the steps to get there or do you just think about the outcome? And the lady was like, you focus and you make sure you're being present with the actual outcome, not the steps to get there. And I was like, okay,
that's actually a really good question though to ask yourself, because I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to manifest this, or I'm going to, I want to manifest this, but it's like, how, and then what stories in your mind need to be reprogrammed in order for you to even like achieve that. And then if you really like go deep into it, you have, the idea of quantum leaping and, how fast does it actually take to get to that point? I used to think about this all the time. Like, okay, I'll throw a thought at you and you tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
We look at our lives and the future of our lives, okay, from where we are today.
Right.
Without really realizing that at any given moment, literally anything can change. You can have the $50,000 client that drops in out of nowhere. You can have the client that you can't stand or whatever walk away from the business.
Yeah.
You can have, the desire to sell your house, sell it for way more than you thought, and then end up somewhere else. Like, it's just, I think a lot of the times people look at their lives and look at their situations of, in 6 months, I'm going to be here, while forgetting the possibility that literally anything can happen and we can create whatever it is that we want.
Yeah. And there's so many times that we don't actually take account that we're living the present version of the aspect that we prayed for, we manifested years ago. So like my husband is great at that, of being like, you prayed for this, right? Like, you asked for this and now you're living it. And I'm like, oh my God. So
you're like, was it this specifically? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Well, we have to make sure that that's why I really want to do like a vision board or something.
Yeah.
To help me take account. What we used to do is we used to take sticky notes like you were talking about and put them in mason jars. And then that was a good way to say, oh my God, like this is what I asked for 3 years ago. And now we're living in that reality, because there's a lot of times we get caught up in the doing and we get caught up in just moving through linear time. And we forget that, oh my God, like we're living the moment that we asked for X amount of years ago or how many ever months ago.
1000%. And there's like that like awareness too, because especially when you're creative, especially when you're an entrepreneur, business owner, or you're building something, you're trying to elevate something in your life, right? There's always I want to get there. I want to do this thing. I need to get to this next place. And also there's a lot of joy and a lot of purpose and passion and fulfillment in the day-to-day mundane things that get you to that bigger thing. And it's always easier to look at it when you look back, right? You look back and you can see the exact things and how they fell into place. But, especially when you're living exactly what you asked for, gosh, like you have to find a way to take a moment and be like, this is literally the life that I prayed for and that I asked for. And even though it's hard, and there's always going to be moments that are hard, even though it's hard, it doesn't mean that it's bad, right? Like it doesn't make it a bad thing.
Not at all. Not at all. That is actually something I'm working on this year, is like experiencing the joy and really taking in the moment. Because what I've realized about myself is like, once I hit the goal, I don't even just sit in the joy and in the happening. It's like, okay, I was featured. Great. Check. On to the next. Instead of now, it's like, no, like I want to take time to celebrate, because and I talk to this and I coach people on this. I speak on stages about this. And I realized that I myself was getting caught up in kind of like, the strategic part of my mind that moves our vision forward. I have to remove that from my actual personal state of being and make sure I'm being present with myself and allowing myself to celebrate the wins and celebrate the milestones instead of just, okay, what's on? Let's get on to the next thing.
100%. I think about this too when I started speaking on stages. Like I had a goal years ago. Oh, I want to speak on more stages, or whatever it was. And then started getting, every stage in the podcast industry, which was amazing, like some really cool big stages that it takes people years to get to.
Yeah.
And then, And then I think it was last year, I think I did like, I don't know, maybe like 13 or 14 different talks. And then I like was just thinking as you were talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, there was a year where I did none. There was a year you do none. You set the intention, you put the thing out there of this is what I want to do. This is this is the next thing I want to do. And then you finally get there. And like, do you think that I even had the awareness in that moment? No. I was like, okay, next thing.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like finding
next
that
next step, next proposal,
Yeah.
next outreach, next meeting.
Yeah.
Like you're just executing the thing instead of just taking a moment to say, oh my God, like I'm living the reality. And this is all that it comes with. Like this is all that's required to bring these things into fruition. But we shouldn't allow the execution of what it is that we're doing to remove us from the fact that we are in real time living the lives that we dreamed of so many moons ago.
I love that. Even if it's not perfect, even if there's one piece of it that isn't 100% what you want, if you are like in this moment right now where your life is more aligned to where you want to be and the type of person you want to be, even though maybe not everything else is in that space too,
right?
Having that gratitude and like that realization is so important. Like,
Yeah.
it's so important. I wish I did more of that. And this is my reminder to do more of that. Yeah. And I love that you're living in the joy. I think that's so important. Like,
Yeah.
what is life meant for? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh
like,
my gosh, what is life meant for? So we were talking a little bit off camera about something that me and my daughters do. But my daughters, they wrote out a joy list and things that make them happy. And like each day we choose something from the list.
What's today's joy?
Today usually is boba. Like they're obsessed with boba. Like they were like, let's get boba from the list. I'm just like,
you're like, we did that 7 times. Like we already did that yesterday, the day before.
They just like want to just go for a walk in the mall with me. They want to get those ice creams that look like fruits. Have you seen like those viral ice cream? That was on the list. My oldest daughter, she wanted to go to Olive Garden and just have lunch with me, her younger sister. So we did that. They have on their list, go fishing with their dad. One of the things that the list has been very telling is like, we are a family that does everything together, me, my husband, and our kids, right? But they were like, we'd like to do more individual things with you. Like my youngest daughter wants to go see Mario Galaxy with daddy alone. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, okay. And I love that we created this safe space for them to be like, we want to do some things with you guys separately.
I love that. Yeah, they're like, Mom and Dad, like I love hanging out with both of you, but I want some time separately. But also too, this also makes me think like, everyone always thinks that, not, I shouldn't say everyone, like I always make grand statements like that, but a lot of the times it's easy to think that kids, maybe want all this stuff and all these things and whatever, and you have to give and do all this stuff and like over give and make sure every single minute is packed with all and they're asking for the simplest things. Literally your time, your energy, your attention. At the end of the day, that's what they're asking for.
Wow, Simona, I didn't even think about that because, I homeschool my daughters and like I'm with them literally all the time. But what they're actually asking for is like downtime, like just really laid back, just walking, just boba, just mall time. They're just wanting to walk and chat and converse. So when we went and got the viral ice creams, we just sat there in the mall. I spent like $50 on freaking desserts. It was ridiculous. But we just like sat there and we talked and we talked about their opinions on things. And I had them describe to me the textures and what's surprising and what do they love, which one's their favorite. And it was like, we turned that into like 2 hours.
That's so amazing.
Tasting and just describing and like, how are you experiencing this? And what is that? Do you like that texture on the inside of that? Or like, what does this remind you of? And my oldest was like, this feels more like mousse, or this feels like a little bit of a moist cake. And just a full-on conversation about the ice cream. But it was honestly, Simona, like I can say that was one of the most joyful moments of my life. Like just being present with my daughters. Phone in my purse, off the table, like out of sight, not getting notified. I do the do not disturb when we're in those moments, so I'm fully present with my girls. I'm just like, this is the good stuff. This is what life is made out of, you know?
It's true. It's
simple
so
things.
true. I love that. Also,
You
they
should
have
do a
sold
joy
me.
list.
I honestly, I should do a joy list because especially right now in this phase of life, I was telling you before we were recording that I'm having a baby in March. And so in this phase of life, it's been so focused on, all of the doing. You got to get prepared for this. You got to do this. We got to get this off the list, the list, all the things. And then on the business side, we're still onboarding clients. We're still bringing in, new work and people who I'm like, hi, full disclosure, I'm going on mat leave. And they're like, wonderful. Can we start now? And I'm like, okay, no problem. I'm like, sounds good to me. But I'm like, but full disclosure. And so, even just with that, it's like every day feels so fast and it feels so fast paced that actually, like my partner said to me this morning, we've been trying to watch a movie after we're done working every single day this week. He said to me today, he's like, I really just want to watch a movie tonight. And I'm like, is today going to be the day? After trying for 5 days to watch a movie, I think it's today.
Are you like me and you fall asleep before the credits are even?
100%, which is why he's always like, we were going to watch a movie the other day and he's like, he's like, do you think you'll actually be able to stay up for this movie or like will you fall asleep? And it was like 9:30 and I'm like, I think I'll fall asleep. He's like, we'll do it another night then. We'll do it another night. And I'm like, okay, no
problem. 8:30, I'm out, lights out. My husband's waking me up for prayer time with my daughters because I get up at 4:30 and I like leave the house, go to my office. I like start my day really early so that I can be like centered for my synapses to fire for all the things.
Yeah.
And so, lights out, 8:00. I did really good. I actually made it through a movie with my husband last night. Yeah. I think I made it to like 9:45 and I was just like, look at me.
Oh my gosh. Did you feel more tired today?
I didn't. No, I actually didn't.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Yes.
I love that. I love that.
What are you interested in? What do you like to do? Because me approaching my 40s, that's been a part of the joy list too. It's like, what do I even like to do anymore? I really want to go like do some glass blowing or something.
Okay, so I have 2 thoughts for you. The first one is you just reminded me, my youngest stepdaughter, she's 8. When she talks to her dad on the phone, she's so cute. When she talks to her dad on the phone, she'll always ask him, so dad, what do you like to do for fun? and we always laugh at the question because it's so like innocent and it's so cute. And we're like, I don't know, like, usually his answer is talk to you. You know what I mean? Like, I like to talk to you. But then if you really think about it, she's like genuinely curious of like, what are the fun things that you're doing like in your life? Like, what do you like to do? It's always just such a good reminder. And anyways, so I forget your question. I'm sorry.
Like, what's your interest? Like, finding what we like to do at this age. We're like building and we're like starting families and we're, learning things at a different level of operating as parents and still trying to discovering who we are, trying to unlearn our own trauma so that it doesn't perpetuate into our children. Like, we're so hyper focused on being productive and like good people and parents that I feel like, well, this is what happened for me, is just like my interest and the things that I enjoy doing. It's not the same. Like I used to go to clubs and all these things with my husband when we were 23. And that's not who I am now. And I'm just like, what do I even like to do?
I know. Okay, so I live up in the north, like in Canada, okay? And so we just like had some crazy weather and snow and all the things. And I saw all these memes and all these videos of like, do you remember when you were in your early 20s and you put on your stilettos and you would walk in this, crazy snow and like all the things? I thought to myself, I'm like, you couldn't pay me enough to go and stand outside of a club with stilettos on in the middle of a snowstorm. Like the way in which.
And we were ridiculous. We wouldn't wear coats because we didn't want to sit them down, or we didn't want to cover up our dress, or whatever.
Or we didn't want to pay for coat check. Like, I don't know about you, but I was like, I'm not paying for coat check. Why would I pay $2 to check my coat? Like,
oh my God.
So ridiculous. Like, now I'm like, where's the coat check? Can I pay $2 for the coat check?
You immediately triggered like a whole other version of Alexandria right there. I was like, wow. I have not thought about that version of myself refusing to pay coat check.
Go check.
Meanwhile, let the we're not gonna go there.
Oh my God, it's so funny. It's so funny. But also, and and also, gratitude for her. You know what I mean? Like,
Right?
thanks for saving your $2 every weekend so we can build the empire. Like, you know what I mean? It comes from somewhere.
Oh my God, Simona, you are absolutely incredible. So let me ask you a question. So, like, as you grew into leadership and building what it is that you have now, so how has the community around you helped shape the decisions that you make today?
Oof. So when you're starting a business, I don't know if anyone else has had this experience or if you had this experience, but my experience in building my business was the people that I had around me originally were not of the same mindset. And it doesn't make it a bad thing, right?
Right.
It doesn't make it wrong. They're, friends, family, and what have you, they had regular jobs. Like they liked that though. You know what I mean? And like there has to be people out there who enjoy that, right? Because you need
Right.
people to actually like go to work. Like not everyone can be an entrepreneur. It's not meant for everybody, right? It really
Right.
isn't. And so one of the biggest challenges that I had when I first started was people understanding what I was creating and why. Like it felt like I
Mhm.
was constantly trying to like battle my way through and like help people understand and like all this stuff. And then as I started doing more things online and actually through my podcast, my Happiness Happens podcast, that's the first show that I launched. And I have two now, but that's the first show that I launched. And through that podcast, someone had sent an episode to one of my now best friends, and she happened to listen to the episode, randomly reached out to me on Instagram. We didn't know each other, and like we would have never met each other if it wasn't through the podcast.
Yeah.
And she reached out and she was like, "Oh, I love this episode," and so on. And we chatted a little bit back and forth. And then we had a mutual friend who was hosting an in-person event to celebrate her company. And we both found out that we were going. And I was like, "Oh, this is so cool. Like we'll get to see each other in real life and in person and so on." And so we met in real life and we hung out probably for like the 20 or 30 minutes we were both at the event. And we have been friends ever since. She is one of my best friends. And so what I've realized is how much, like, first of all, when you just try something new, the people that you are meant to be around you will always find you in some way.
Yeah. We
And then
attract.
also, yeah, exactly. And then also, there's a space for the people who've always been with you, right? And then there's also the space for people who are in this journey with you right now. And so, community is everything. And I think especially as we're in this year right now, I think we're going to start to see people really emphasizing on community. People want to be in partnership together. People want to be in places where they're heard and understood and all of the things, right? And sometimes you can't do that in the place that you are right now. Like you need to go somewhere else to get what you're looking for. And even if it's just as simple as the validation of the idea that you have. Like I'm someone who needed a lot of validation in life, no matter what, like business decisions, life decisions. I was like, oh my gosh, am I making the right choice? Am I this? Am I this? And also it's like, but I trust myself. So I know that I'm going to make the right decision no matter what's going to happen. But the people around me though, reminding me that the decision that I'm making is the right decision. I don't know. You can't put a price on that,
Yeah, and I mean that I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that I hear from people when they become an Elevate Your Growth member is like they're looking for their people because their current circle just doesn't get it. And when they say that, I know exactly what they mean. They don't have to explain it because I understand. Like there's an aspect of it of like if you're first generation business owner, like your family members won't understand. If you're struggling, they're just like, get a job, like what are we doing here? And then there's like for people that are far leaning to being super negative, they're like belittling the vision when you're like super excited and you want to convey what your vision is to other people that will understand because they're also visionaries, right? They're also people that are going for it, betting on themselves. And when you tell them something, you're looking for that, oh my God, that's such a great idea. have you thought about doing XYZ? Like they start going into strategies on making sure that it's successful and it's scalable and you're building a strong foundation instead of that silly, nobody's going to buy that.
1000%.
Right? Like we need our people.
We do. We 100% do. And like you never know. And I think this through podcasting as well. And I'm sure that you found this like because of your show and the people that you bring on and the community that you've built. You never know when you're going to meet someone that's totally going to change, everything in your life. But also you've probably met so many people that you never imagined you would ever meet. Like that was true for me on my Happiness Happens podcast. And you know what's crazy? When I first started interviewing people on that show, the show's iterated a couple of different times. The first time, when I first started it, it was solo episodes because I was learning so much about like shame and fear and guilt and sadness and all that. But then also so much about like joy and happiness and fulfillment and presence and all that. And I'm like, there's got to be somebody else in this world who needs to hear this too. Like I can't be the only one, right? So I did a whole bunch of solo episodes. And then after the solo episodes, I started getting so curious about, hold on, how do these business owners get to where they want to go? Like how are they creating the life that they want to create? What's their secret? Because there's got to be something that they know that I don't know. So like what's the thing? So I interviewed all these different people to understand how they got from where they were to where they are and like, creating more happiness along, just living a happier life along the way. And then the most recent iteration of the show was me interviewing people to understand what happiness meant to them and then how they create more of it in their life every day. But I say this because those guests that I interviewed, the business owner guests that I interviewed to learn about their journey and so on. When I launched my podcast launch services in March of 2021, there were people that I had interviewed on the podcast that were some of my first clients. And we sold out in 72 hours. And then we never stopped.
Wow.
We've never stopped since. It was amazing. But they were some of my first clients. And I never would have met them if it wasn't for the podcast. And the reason why they were, I guess, a yes for working together on launching their show is because, and they said to me, we had such a fun time being a guest on your podcast and we had so much fun. Like we want that too. And I was like, holy cow, like you wouldn't even think, or you wouldn't even imagine the conversation you have 2 years ago brings people into your life full circle. Like it's just, you can't make it up.
I'm telling you, like podcasting is the cheat code because I think people only feel like we have these conversations and it's good for content and that's it. They don't realize that you're building with your guests, you're building know, like, trust. You're like falling in love with each other because you're having real, honest, authentic conversations that you don't typically have on your day to day. And you're building. So there is an element of like, yes, empowering people and paying the information forward and helping the people in our community that's going to watch this. But there's also a beauty between the relationship that's being built in real time between guest and host.
100%.
And how that leads to wonderful relationships. So like one of my good friends now, her and her husband own like multi-million-dollar company. And our relationship started because I had her on my podcast. And then years later, they've like sponsored events and we're good friends. And it started in the back of her Mercedes Sprinter, us having a conversation.
Wow.
And just getting to know each other. We're like, oh my God, I love you. And you keep the relationship going. You get lunch, you get coffee, you reach out to each other, you check in on each other. So that is, people don't understand there is a magic behind podcasting beyond just what we do to empower the people that's watching.
1000%. 1000%. And I think when you approach things more as mission based instead of I'm going to do this thing for this outcome, because I talk to a lot of people who want to start a podcast. I actually got off of a call today with someone. She's like, like making money, I guess would be nice from it. She's like, but I want to impact people. I want to change people. I say all the time that, and I say this to, our discovery call people, but I also say this to our launch clients and the people that we're working with, like, you have the power through your podcast, through your voice, to add more good into the world or more chaos into the world. Like, where do you want to be? Which one do you want to do? What do you want to add? You know, I'll always pick more good. Always. We don't need to add more chaos. We've got plenty going on.
Every time. There's enough. That's why all of my content is positive, because there's enough negativity in the world. But isn't it funny how when we go into podcasting, we have an objective, we have a vision, we have a mission, and it's usually to inspire, empower, help someone else. But it ends up inspiring and empowering and helping us inadvertently too. Like that was a hidden aspect that I was not anticipating. I was not expecting to like do anything other than, you know, spread the message, empower other people, but then realize, oh my gosh, like it's doing the same for me. I'm learning in real time. There's things stirring in my spirit when a guest says something about being patient or steward leadership or all these areas that I'm interested in growing into. So I'm learning in real time. I'm building in real time. It is just sensational.
Invaluable.
And I love that you're in the podcast space. You have your hands in creating all these wonderful moments. So what is it that you guys do exactly at Volt?
Yeah. So we help entrepreneurs and small business owners launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts. But really what we do is we help people bring their message and their voice to the mic so that they can take it and they can amplify it to all the people that they need to impact and are meant to impact. And we help people through so many different ways of doing that. But ultimately it's, helping them share their message in a really significant and a really powerful way. And, you know, getting in front of the people that, you know, that are destined and meant to hear them, and, you know, have a lot of fun doing it along the way. And so, you know, that's what we're doing is like mission wise. And then, you know, but like everything else is like, you know, a lot of strategy based, like a lot of, you know, like a lot of execution, a lot of editing, a lot of production, and, you know, crafting messages, crafting storylines, and that kind of thing. And it's so much fun. And it's kind of it's a blend of both.
I love that. Do you oftentimes find that people don't understand that there is an art to storytelling?
Yes.
That is like legitimately a craft to be able to put our messages together, to be able to captivate and educate and entertain and make sure they're not falling asleep and like their nuance of voice and inflection and like hand gestures
and like
it's an art form.
Your and your energy, right? And like I've had clients too, they'll say, well, you know, I'm not really that bubbly of a person. Like I'm not like, hi, like, you know, welcome. And I'm like, you don't need to be that person, because you can still, it's the energy that you bring. You know what I mean? Now, of course, like there has to be some personality that comes through. When you're, you know, on a podcast or you're sharing, because otherwise it can be a little bit boring. But you don't have to be, you know, the loudest person to have a podcast that resonates with people. And also, I will say that, what was I going to say? Oh no! Oh my God! It was right there. You know, people say when you're about to have, people talk about this mom brain, and they say that you forget things. And I was like, no, it can't be real. I was like, it can't be. It can't actually be. But no, it is. And I'm like, okay, I'll think about it in 20 minutes after we get off, and I'm be like, oh my God, Alexandria, that's what it was. That's the thing I was going to share. Oh my gosh! But in any case, you have so much power in your voice. You have so much power in what you get to share every single day and the way in which you get to do it. Right. And like, I think that everyone has something that's important to share and to talk about. And again, like, do you add more good or do you add more chaos? The choice is yours. Like, you know, at the end of the day. So, so that's what we do for
people. You don't have to step out of yourself to become like a caricature on stage. Like, I feel like the secret sauce is you are yourself. Like you're your authentic self. I am authentically bubbly. Like that's just who I am.
Exactly.
Like, that's what I bring to the stage. Like it's funny because we license some of our programs. So I was talking to an organization. I was like, hey, you know, I'll do this presentation this year, but you know, if you don't want to keep looking for speakers, like you could just train some of your staff. We'll license, you know, everything. We'll get you everything workbook. You don't have to deal with this material again. They were like, yeah, but we want you though. Like,
they're like, that's nice.
And I'm like, okay.
You're like, I can't license myself.
I
like,
can't do that.
You know,
So this is a great question. I'm super excited to hear your answer on this. How do you
okay.
maintain focus when opportunities and distractions are competing for your attention?
I actually surprisingly was thinking about this yesterday because we've had so much stuff come our way and that
Mhm.
I'm like, you know, it's really interesting because I'm like, is this a test coming my way to like,
Mm.
you know, to lessen a rate for someone because of X, Y, and Z? Or is it an opportunity to look at it in a different way? And, you know, for example, I have a membership for podcasters. And so in the past, my initial default is like, let's, you know, lower the rate to help those people. But then
Right.
I'm like, but maybe they would be a better fit for my membership. You know what I mean? And so it's like
Mhm.
a constant discernment of those
Mhm.
different things. But how do I maintain focus when both are competing? Honestly, I know the work that we want to do and I know what we're really good at. And I also know where we want to grow into. And so if it doesn't really align to one of those three things, it's probably going to be a no
Yeah.
or a redirect into something else. Like, you know, while we can't help with this production because of X, Y, and Z reason, it would be really good for the membership and you should come in and you should, you know, come and join type of thing. So I don't know if that fully answers the question,
Yeah.
but if
No,
it
it
doesn't
does. It
fit
does.
in the vision, it's got to be a no. We
And
can only do so much.
that's exactly what we have to remember as founders and business owners, and everything that we're doing is we have to always stay grounded in what's aligned.
Mm.
Like I actually rendered a list for 2026 of everything that I will consider aligned, and any opportunities that come my way or
Ooh, that's
partnerships or
smart.
collaborations or whatever, it has to be measured up against this list
I
so that
love
I'm
that.
not jumping and saying yes because I love the person, I want a partner, all these various things. It's like just straight across the board, no bias. Does it align? Does it hit all of these factors? And if it's a no, it has to be a respectful decline. Like
Exactly.
you can't allow the distractions.
Or
Um,
even like a yes, but in a different capacity. You know what I mean? Maybe not for
mhm.
this specific thing, but it could be
Yeah.
a yes for something else. And, you know, I had a friend last year who told me about this list that she created. It was like the 100 rejection list. I don't know if you've heard of this before.
No,
And
what is that?
so you essentially put 100, like you add to this list, you're continuously adding to this list. This is how I understood it anyways. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, reach out to me and tell me. But um this is how I understood it, is that you create this list and on it you put some of the most like crazy out of the box like things that you think you'll get rejected for, and you
Mhm.
add them to this list and you pitch, right? You pitch yourself for the opportunity, the stage, the thing, the whatever. And the idea is that even if you get, you know, your different rejections, you're still stretching yourself into something new. Oh,
I love that.
I know. I loved it too. So I started doing it. I don't have 100
Uh-huh.
things on it, but if I see something and I'm like, oh, that would never, like, I would never get that, or like, that would never be a thing. I don't even, I don't even do that to myself anymore. I just add it to the list, and I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna try and we're gonna see what happens. And if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Well, just by odds, you're gonna get a few things off the list,
There's
right?
gonna be at least one of the
There's
100.
gonna be at least one out of 100 things that you thought was infeasible, if that's the word, and you're gonna
Exactly.
get it. And then really,
Exactly.
oh my God,
It's a good idea, right?
that is a fantastic idea. Like I want to implement that in my coaching. Like that's
I
incredible.
think you should. I think you should, because honestly, like
Really
people
good.
will stretch and just, and it makes you do the scary thing
Uh-huh.
faster.
Yes. And what it really does is it removes the fear. Because even if
Exactly.
you get the rejection, you're like, oh, that's not so bad. They sent an email back and said no.
Mhm. You
As
remove
opposed to
the
it
attachment.
taking up space and being the boogeyman in your mind and remaining
Mhm.
larger than life in your head, like you're getting it down, you're kind of taking dominion over the thing and you're still going after it. And like you said, yes, the end result is you stretch yourself essentially and you
Exactly.
get a yes somewhere. Girl, that's good.
This is that.
100 rejection list is what it's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
really
mean, it could be a totally different thing, but that's my version of 100
well. I like
rejection.
it.
We've
I
created something
like
new here today, if that's not actually what it is. Alexandria can take you through the process. I'll be in attendance for my own list, and I'll share all
oh
my wins with you at the end of the year.
you are incredible, Simona. So our
How are
last
you?
question, darling, is what is your favorite snack?
Ooh, Okay.
Do you
What a time
know?
in my life.
I've got to stop you really quickly. Everybody responds in the same way. We're asking these deeply introspective, wonderful questions, but it's the snack question that makes people go, oh.
It's so good. I am so boring with snack. Okay, so here's the misconception about being pregnant that I've learned. Okay, people will say, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna have all of these crazy cravings, and you're gonna eat all of this stuff, and you're gonna be hungry for all the things all the time." Can I tell you how this is the least hungry that I've ever felt in my life? Like,
Really?
so I get hungry, but I don't want anything. So like, there's no food that sounds delicious. There's nothing that sounds good. I'm like, meh. And I'm like a huge foodie. Like I'm the person who will go to like the restaurant and do like the whole thing. Like I love food. Okay. Just
Yeah.
not right now. So my favorite snack right now is apples and
Okay.
watermelon. I like fruit. Fruit and
Oh,
me are
fruit.
best friends. And
Yes.
I also really like ice cream.
What flavor?
So yesterday at 9:30 p.m., I drove us to McDonald's to get a vanilla ice cream cone from there.
Oh my gosh. So I can attest to weird cravings. I resist it, and I can't even believe that I'm going to say this on air because I've literally never said this publicly. But I had a weird urge with my first daughter. This didn't happen with Clarity, my second. But I wanted to like eat toilet paper so bad. I never did. I never did. But it was like, it was calling my name. Like there was something about it, like the smell, like it just
No
really
way.
felt like it would be delicious to me. I never did it, but I actually did some research on it, and they said that you crave things like that when there's some type of deficiency. And I think they said some pregnant women crave toilet paper if there's like an iron deficiency, which I'm
not
anemic
surprised.
anyway on a good
Yeah.
day. So I can only imagine when I was pregnant and even more depleted because I
Your
had
body is like, where is the roll? Thank
Where
you so much. Where's the roll?
please. And every time I use the bathroom, I'm like,
You're like,
don't eat the toilet paper.
you're like, no, because then you're like, oh my gosh, if I actually do it, then I've done the thing. Like I've
There's
actually
no
done.
turning back.
There's no turning back. There was one time when I was like, I think I was like 12 or 13. I used to have this I don't know what the right word is, like obsession with the smell of laundry detergent. And
Really?
I used to take handfuls of it because we didn't have like the Tide Pods or anything like that. Like my parents had like the regular, whatever, scoop it up with the thing and you put it in. And
like the powder
I
kind,
used
like the grain kind. Okay.
yeah.
Got you.
And I used to take the powder and I would put it in my pocket and I would sniff it, like smell it. One time I was like, should I lick it? And I was like, no, maybe I'll die if I do that. It's a chemical. I probably should do.
Well, my goodness, we're revealing all kind of secrets on Thriving Thursday.
And it's at the end of the show too. And so if you want all the dirt, you gotta wait till the end of the podcast.
Gotta wait till the end of the podcast. Oh my gosh, you are
so
absolutely incredible. You guys,
you
gotta check this incredible woman out. Go to voltproductions.co. You want to spell it for him, Simona? It's for the people listening on Spotify.
Yeah, it's VOLT productions.co.
All right. Make sure you look her up if you need some support in monetizing your podcast. She's absolutely incredible, and so is her wonderful partner. I love them both so much. Make sure you check them out. And also, if you are interested in, this is for the people that are listening, okay? You can text EYG, all lowercase, EYG to 843-648-3875 to access our connection and visibility guide, where you can grade how well you're doing in networking right now and get some tips on ways to be better. Okay. If you're watching us, that is what that QR code is for. All you got to do is scan it and you can download your free grading tool to make sure that you are showing up in 2026 or whenever it is you're seeing this. You might be seeing it 4 years from now. It'll still be active then. Just scan the QR code or text EYG to 843-648-3875. And we are closing out the podcast. This is the time where we close out with prayer. If you're not someone who prays, we love you anyway, but we just want to let you know, as for me and my podcast, we pray. Are you ready, Simona?
I am ready.
Oh,
I'm excited to hear what you're going to say.
I don't know what I'm going to say. I just leave
love
it to God. I just let him work.
I love that.
Oh, dear God, we humbly come before you on this day. And I give you the greatest gratitude for another fantastic connection with a wonderful woman. I ask that you put your hands on her, Lord, and her daughter as she moves towards the season of being welcomed into motherhood for the first time of her life, Lord God. I ask that her pregnancy ends well and her birth ends in glory, and welcome another beautiful baby girl into this world, into this realm, in the loving arms of her and her partner, Lord God. I thank you for this connection. I thank you for the opportunity to meet with like-hearted people like Simona, Lord God. And I hope that I am taking up territory in the kingdom with these conversations and empowering others to live in their dreams, to live in their boldness, to live in their God-ordained assignments, and glorifying you in all that we do, Lord God. I pray these things according to the character and identity of Christ. Amen.
Whew, that was so beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
beautiful. I loved
So
this. This was so good.
I know.
I love you, Simona.
I love you too. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And thank you guys for watching. We will see you right here, same time next week for Thriving Thursdays with Alexandria. I love you guys. Bye-bye. Simona, don't go anywhere.